Hey everyone! Today we are going to go on a field trip to Maplewood State Park. Our field trip was supposed to be today, May 12th, but Miss Teisel and I went there last week to bring Maplewood to you during distant learning. So driving to Maplewood from Fergus, I did a Google search on a map, and if you were to go from Fergus, you would go on the interstate a little ways and take the exit for Elizabeth to take Highway 59 north. You'll go through Earhart, Pelican Rapids, and then after heading north, you'll go east. And so you'll go east to Maplewood on Highway 108. You'll go in between Lake Lida. Here's North Lake Lida, and then South Lake Lida, and then you'll see Maplewood. So inside of Maplewood, let's see here. I can get over there. You will see all of these different lakes inside of Maplewood. So Maplewood's a pretty big area, and the northwest corner here is Lake Lida. When you go into the park entrance, you will be able to see different parts of Lake Lida there. Okay, so I'll go back to this presentation and then go to this personal connection. My grandfather's family, my mom's dad, Earl Ripley, had a farm in Maplewood Park in the late 1800s, 1900s, located in the west of Maplewood Church, which is on the south side of the park. When the Park Service purchased the land for the state park, my Grandpa Ripley bought farmland across the highway to the south side of the state park on County Road 24. My cousins and I spent a lot of time exploring the park on the south side near Maplewood Church when we were younger because it was close to my grandparents' farm. These are my grandparents, Robert, which we call Bob, and Alina Ripley. This is my mom's side of the family in a picture taken from the 60s, but I thought that it was interesting because I wanted to show you a picture of my grandma, Alina, and then my grandpa, and they had 13 kids, which is kind of amazing. And this is my mom, Julie, and she was one of the younger kids, but 13 kids, isn't that crazy? Okay, so these are my cousins, and this was taken a long time ago, like 20 years ago. And we used to meet at Maplewood in the fall. And so my cousins and I would climb Holloway Hill and have a picnic at the park. And then afterwards, we would go to my grandparents' farm and have a hayride. So I have some good, fun memories there. This is Maplewood Church. It's on the southern section of the park. And it's a really tiny church that only has services every once in a while, not on a regular basis. This is the website that we are going to hop over to check out. And so if you go to Maplewood State Park, you can see a bunch of different pictures from the park. It is definitely the most beautiful during the fall time when all of the maple trees are orange and yellow and red. So this is a picture of winter, fall. You can camp here in the summer and canoe around. There's Lake Lida. And so if you go to Maplewood, you can see many of these different things. If you go to this website, you will also see a 360-degree virtual tour. So on this tour, you are able to see some of the sites. If you enter the park, you will come to the Trail Center where you buy your park sticker. And this is the place where you can ask questions and get a map. Beaver Lake, Wildlife Blind, Trail along Little Grass Lake. Many people go horseback riding through the park too. Bass Lake, South Lake. This is a nice shelter. It has a picnic area and there's some bathrooms in there that you can rent, or if no one's using it, you can have a picnic there. And this is right down from Holloway Hill. So if you walk around this area, there's a hiking trail that goes up a really steep hill to see Lake Lida. And then this is kind of the middle area. And if you walk down this hill over here, you're able to see Lake Glida and go down to the swimming beach. There's another picture of the shelter. There's another called Beers Lake. South Lake Glida boat ramp if you want to launch your boat. Here's Holloway Hill. I'll show you some pictures from there in just a minute. And then there is the Lake Glida campground. This is a great place with pretty views of the lake. Beaver Lake. Here's a special place where you can bring your horses for the horse campground. These are fun camper cabins that you can rent out at the park if you don't want to set up a tent or bring your camper. There's Maplewood Church. Some other pictures. All right, so I'll go back to this. Next, we have Holloway Hill Hike. This is my favorite part of the Maplewood, climbing up to see amazing views. So this is last week, my daughters and Miss Teisel and her kids went there and we climbed up the hill. This is at the top of Holloway Hill. You can see some really pretty views, and so Miss Teisel and I took a picture. And then I wanted to show you another picture of my sister and I. This was like 15 years ago, and this just kind of shows you the view in the fall where you can see the pretty leaves and sumac in the background. And then this is a view of the road that goes in between North and South Lake Glida. And there's a little culvert where you can drive your boat underneath here. Then after we climbed Holloway Hill, we climbed back down. I saw this pretty fern, so took a picture. There's a picnic shelter we were looking at before. And then you walk down that hill going down to the swimming beach. And so on the swimming beach, this is just a picture of my kids. And this is a random, strange discovery. There was a dog leash that was tied around a dead carcass of a fish. That was kind of funny. Okay, and then on the beach, there's this little land bridge. When the water's not high, you can walk all the way across to this island over here. But right now it's submerged because the water's pretty high. Okay, this is a really cool place. This is called the Hidden Villages. This is from a local author. He was a teacher at the school. About 15 years ago, he wrote a book series called The Lone, I can't remember what it was. The Lore, sorry, this is supposed to be a R. The Lore book series. And so he built these little tiny village scenes out of clay. And this was the art teacher. Mrs. Teisel had Mr. Fletcher as our art teacher, and he and some of his students built these really cool castles and building structures that are in a couple of different places hidden in Maplewood Park in the woods. So this is one of the scenes, and it's kind of hard to see because they're buried in the leaves, but there's all these tiny structures and tiny buildings that you can look at and see the inside. There was coins and pennies and quarters and some mushrooms growing in some, so that was kind of interesting to see. Okay, let's see. I think that's the end of the presentation. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go back to the Maplewood, go back to the main website, and then take a virtual tour of this, and then just kind of play around on the website and check out some of the sites. And then you will type in the Google Classroom assignment something interesting that you learned. All right, I hope you had fun on this little virtual field trip.